Hey, comic book fans! Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Geezers. I am Wild Bill, the Unknown Comic, your host and the co-host right over here in the captain's chair.
Pete Pardo here, everybody. How's it going? You ready for another episode of Inside the Cover?
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Pete's kicking it off here with an Avengers.
That's right. That's right. So issue number 126, as you know, I've been collecting a lot of Avengers to fill in gaps in my collection of late. So this is basically one of the ones I've been reading lately, and it's a good one. Issue number 126, as you can see, fighting the Claw. Although, as I was just looking before we started recording this, what's wrong with this picture here? Look at the Claw's head. Isn't the top of his head usually like a bluish purple? Well, I guess they forgot to color that in that color because it's like he's got that little purple band around his forehead, but his top of his head is bald and red. Little inconsistency there, but a great cover nonetheless, right? So this one is from 1974. Steve Englehart, same old scripter. Bob Brown, prodigal penciler. Dave Cockrum, ingenuity inker. I don't even know what the hell that means. John Costanza. John Costanza. George Costanza. No, we're not. No Seinfeld reference here. And Goldberg, a lettering colorist, and Roy Thomas was the editor. So very cool opening splash page there. All right, so you've got both the Claw and Solar, two villains that you've probably all seen before, looking pretty big and huge, standing over Avengers Mansion. I gotta like that. It's a little bit misleading, right? Because no, they're not that big. But then we go inside the mansion, and there we've got the Swordsman. For those of you who follow along with some of these issues, he was actually in the hospital from a previous battle, so he's now freshly out of the hospital and back to getting in fighting shape, right? So him and his love interest, Mantis, he's obviously trying to impress her with all of his prodigious talents there against all the robots and things that they have in the training room. And what's really interesting here is they talk about this little subplot going on because, of course, it wouldn't be Marvel around this time period without these romantic subplots, right? So basically, if you're familiar with these issues, a couple of issues back, they developed this little thing between Vision and Mantis, right? Even though Vision and Scarlet Witch are already a couple at this time, but for some reason, the Vision and Mantis seem to have this weird kinship because they're both kind of similar.
Yeah, they're weird.
They're weird, they're cold, that sort of thing. So even though they're both Mantis is with Swordsman, he's with Scarlet Witch, there's some kind of connection. So, of course, they play this up to the hilt. So look at this scene right there where the Swordsman is kissing her. She's looking off to the side while he's kissing her, and she's looking at the Vision. Just look at this. How obvious is that, right? So, and the Swordsman is picked up on this, right? So now, to the other half of the triangle, we go, here's the Scarlet Witch. Wanda's sitting in her room, looking at a picture of Vision, wondering why he's paying so much attention to Mantis and how she's like, I'm going to do something about this because I'm not going to go out without a fight. It's just... Man, it's amazing. I think the last time I did a Inside the Cover, it was Daredevil, right? So it was Daredevil, Black Widow, and Moondragon, right? This whole thing. It's like, these guys, man, they just...
She's got to get a new perfume.
Right. Exactly. So here, in the issue before this, Captain America kind of took a little bit of a hiatus from the Avengers to go off and do some stuff. So he comes back, and he's got a lot on his mind. So here he is in a meeting with Thor and Iron Man, the three kind of bigwigs of the team. And Cap is all brooding and upset and basically saying that he may need to step away from being Captain America.
I need a break.
Yeah, and Thor is like, not hearing it.
Yeah, I can't take this.
He's like, what are you talking about? So so Thor is like, thou wouldst be Captain America no more? And Iron Man's like, come on, Thunder God, leave him alone for now. And he goes, but this is incredible. 'Twas we ourselves who did thaw his frozen body from the ice. We ourselves who did stand beside him as he began his new life. And Cap thunders back with, if I needed a history lesson, Thor, I'd go to the public library. Can't you see I'm trying to think? And so Iron Man's like, let's go, Goldilocks. Cap's on edge. Let's talk to him about it later. And so they go off and they're talking amongst each other, what the hell's wrong with him, and so on and so forth. So then we go off to the Black Panther who's in his room, and he is kind of pondering. He feels bad that he's been away from Wakanda so long because he's got a lot going on with the Avengers, but there's so much going on in Wakanda. So here he is reminiscing about some recent battles they've had with the Avengers and how they wouldn't have been able to win some of those battles without him. So he's torn about whether he should be spending his
his
time
country.
exactly, or with them. So, but then he looks outside. And he sees this guy, this weird, well-dressed dude walking up to Avengers Mansion, and he obviously knows who he is.
Salesman.
Yeah, no, I wish he was only a salesman, right? So he goes running outside. Jarvis is about to answer the door. He goes, "Don't worry about it." So T'Challa answers the door, and he calls him Mr. Ambassador of Rudyarda. So obviously there is. If for those of you who read the Fantastic Four, in I think issue number 119 of Fantastic Four, guest starring the Black Panther, there's this whole storyline in Wakanda, and that guy is like the ambassador of this neighboring country.
So he's bringing bad news?
Well, sort of. Now, what's really interesting here, this is, again, this would not fly today in 2022, but this is 1974. So he goes to say hello to, he goes, "There is no need to ring, Mr. Ambassador." And he goes, "Good morning, Prince T'Challa. Excuse me if I don't shake your hand, but the touch of a black man is distasteful for me, as is my mission here."
Yeah.
So, and then T'Challa's like, "No doubt, Mr. Ambassador, the last time I visited your land of Rudyarda, your government jailed me for my color." So, again, this is 1974. And, they wrote about this kind of stuff all the time back then. And even though these things are still happening today, it's not something you would see in a comic book or a magazine. So he basically comes in and says, "There's this problem going on. I have need of the Avengers," right? So T'Challa calls the rest of them in, and, of course, that's Mantis and Vision and Scarlet Witch and the Swordsman, because Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man are busy doing their whole thing. So they go, so he's like, "We need to go. I'll tell you all about the mission when we go out there." So Black Panther's leading everybody out there. They go out into the street. The other three hear this loud noise coming from outside. They're like, "What the hell's going on?" So those three run outside, and basically, how about this for a splash page? Look at that. So there you have it. So you've got sonar on top of this kind of like sound bubble that's holding in prison Wanda, Vision, Swordsman.
Look how gigantic the claw is.
And look at how gigantic exactly the claw is. So you've got Thor, Iron Man, and Cap on the outside wondering what the hell's going on here. And see, speaking of the claw, so look at the top of his head. It's like this purplish blue color, right? So they screwed something up on the cover. But so they're being held in this bubble of pure sound, obviously. So here, this is I couldn't believe this when I read this. So nowhere in this issue do they describe or tell why Solar and the Claw are working together. So there's a box at the bottom of this page that says, "Hold everything there. You're probably wondering how these two villains, who have never met before, got together. Well, in another mighty Marvel first, we're going to let you tell us how they got together. The best answer can pick up a no prize in the letters page of Avengers 130.
Yeah.
So basically,
Leave it up to you.
We're not going to give you any backstory on why these two are working together, but we'll let you decide in a future issue of the Avengers. We'll pick one randomly out of the letters page." Huh?
Yeah.
So anyway, as we go
Hollywood does the same thing nowadays.
Right.
Remakes.
Yeah, exactly. So here the battle begins, and Thor throws his hammer at Claw, it goes right through him. So obviously it's kind of like a big hologram. It's not really him, right?
It's a setup.
Yeah, it's a setup. So they go into this little backstory about how the Claw talks about the last time he fought the Black Panther with the Fantastic Four. He got captured by the country of that one dude. From the country of whatever the hell
ambassador.
The ambassador guy, right? And
So
but
he was done wrong. He feels
he was done wrong, and now he's basically saying, because he hates the Black Panther, that's like his ultra nemesis, and he goes that I want to defeat you, and I want to become the dictator of Wakanda, and basically Solar is basically saying that I'm here to help him do that. Again, we don't know why. We never get told why, but whatever.
He's trapped in a bubble.
Yeah, so they're trapped in the bubble, and then basically Solar blasts the ambassador guy and looks to almost kill him, right? So basically what he's saying, you have an hour to bring them... I forget exactly what he says. You have an hour...
to meet my demands.
Meet his demands and proclaim me the dictator of Wakanda. Otherwise, we're going to start killing the ladies, meaning Wanda or Mantis, right? So basically, Iron Man gets this idea. So basically, like Iron Man and Thor are trying to dig under this sound bubble, right? And they're unable to do it. So they think that Iron Man has got like a Tony Stark invention that could probably do something to get in there, right?
Like a mining tool.
Something like that, right? So they go off in search of this tool or this thing, right? So then, I know, right? The drama. So then inside,
they're searching for the equipment.
They're in the bubble, right? And of course, Wanda is still pissed off at Vision, right? So at one point,
looking at Mantis.
Yeah, so
he's got Mantis eyes.
So she goes, still, Solar, disrupting force field has become almost a habit for me because she's trying to do her hex on the bubble and it doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
And Mantis goes, no, Wanda, to attempt this is useless. This one can sense it. And then she responds back, attempting to psych me is equally useless, Mantis. Blast, the field didn't shatter. And the Vision is like, complete control of your power is yet in the future, Wanda. Perhaps you should have rested longer. She goes, that's right. Stand up for Mantis. Only talk to me when I'm wrong. So they start like bickering back and forth. So the whole romantic thing is going on. Meanwhile, one of the coolest Marvel value stamps of all time, Mysterio. I think Mysterio was one of the coolest looking villains ever.
What number?
That is number 46.
Oh.
Number 46. So basically, the guys go looking for they get some of these machines. They start fighting these giant red panthers or whatever, which obviously are created by a claw. They're kind of like sonar or sound creations. So they defeat them. They come back. We've got look at Wanda and the Vision are still bickering with each other, which is just crazy, right? And then finally, the guys get back when all of a sudden Black Panther attacks the ambassador, tears away his attaché case that he's been carrying nonstop, and realizes that the reason why he's been carrying that attaché case and wouldn't shake his hand and wouldn't put it down is because he doesn't have a hand there. That's his claw. So it's actually claw in disguise the whole time. So then, he sheds the costume and they battle it out. Exactly. They battle it out. Black Panther defeats the claw. They defeat Solar. And then everything ends on a good note. Black Panther decides that he's going to go back to Wakanda.
What's Captain America at the end saying?
He's basically he's leaving the Avengers. So basically, they announced that Black Panther's going to Wakanda. He's going to take his leave for a while. Then Cap is all solemn and everything. And he's like, I'm going to do the same thing.
So we got a couple separations here.
So basically, that whole storyline, Cap not becoming Cap anymore. Remember, this is when he joins the police force and all that shit. That happens in Captain America. And then they talk about the next issue, which is the wedding of Crystal and Quicksilver, right? And that also in the land of the Inhumans. So
more drama.
Yeah, more drama. Lots of drama. So there you have it, everybody.
Can't wait.
Issue number 126 of the Avengers, inside the cover. Thanks for watching.
Yes, please click the like video if you like this video. Even share it with your friends, that'd even be better. Or click the notification bell so you get kept in the loop every time we have a new video. You'd be kept in the loop. And as always, we thank you for your comments and your subscriptions and your support. I'm Wild Bill, as always, saying thanks for being here. And as always, thanks for watching Comic Book Geezers. For me and Pete, we'll see you next time.
That's right, everybody. Take care. We'll see you next time here on Comic Book Geezers. Bye-bye.
Bye.